Just a Guy with a Beer. I'm Scott Fryer. This is episode number 6, and we are here at Outer Light Brewing Company in Groton, Connecticut. And I'm here with the co-owner and brewmaster, Tom Drejer, and thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's awesome, and it's a little bit warm in here today. It's okay. I mean, this is part of the experience when you come to Outer Light. It ends up being a little bit warm, but that makes us drink more beer, right? So it's awesome. We are located right in the little industrial park next to the roller rink. What's the name of this little strip? Is there a name?
Yeah, officially it's called the Commerce Center, but I don't think
the Commerce Center. That's right. If you know where Meineke is, downtown Groton, right after you come off 95, they're right down here. You can't miss it. Now they have a big tent out here because of the whole COVID restrictions. But I appreciate you guys having me do my show here today, and I appreciate you coming on. And you guys have been out here since 2015, correct?
Yes.
May 30th, 2015?
It's like April, it's either April 3rd or April 4th, whatever that Good Friday was that year in 2015. So our first brew went down, I want to say it was like March 12th or something like that.
March 12th, okay. Yeah. And so you guys opened up, and we talked a little bit before, like you couldn't even have sell pints.
No, it was right before we opened. You couldn't sell pints, so the laws changed. So I think if you go back in Connecticut beer history, it was Two Roads that laid a lot of groundwork for getting pints going in tap rooms. And so the room we're sitting in, we weren't even going to have yet. It just happened to come up. It was vacant right when we were signing our lease, and so we jumped on it. It wasn't in our plans, and so it was crazy. I mean, I guess it was pretty awesome. It allowed the industry to be what it is now.
So now, when you guys were developing your business plan, we talked a little bit about that. And what was your plan? Like, if you couldn't have a tasting room, what were you guys just going to sell? Growlers?
Yeah, it was the whole. You can get a taste. And it was growlers to go. And and if things were going to change, I think growlers were starting to come on the scene a little bit, and we didn't know what we were going to do with that. Once we opened here, our bar space was so limited. It's almost like you never can have enough space. And
right.
So we never got a growler machine because we haven't figured out where to place one.
Oh, I like it, folks. When you come in here, it's cool because it's just wood, and you just walk in. It's like a garage. Yeah, that's what I think is part of the whole atmosphere of here. Is you come in, it's kind of a beachy theme, and I look around. If you guys, people that do follow you guys, you go onto your website or you follow your social media stuff. You guys are always at the beach. You're talking about surfing. A lot of your beers are named like that, kind of beach themed sometimes.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's kind of cool. And you come in here, and it's like the shiplap all over the place, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think we like to think of ourselves kind of as like grassroots from what we've done.
Yeah.
I don't know, my partner and I came. We worked off a shoestring budget. We didn't really come from anything. Didn't have anything in our pockets to really start it. So just kind of started on a dream of loving beer and making beer together back in the day. And he's an avid hiker, camper, and I'm an avid surfer, snowboard. So we do all those things outside. So our logo and everything, our concept was built around all that.
So now you started brewing when you were a freshman in college, right?
Yeah, 98. So my roommate, Donnie, was from Austin, Texas, and he brewed beer with his dad, and I was like, my dad doesn't even know I drink. So
you're in college. What else are you doing?
Yeah, so it was like, I forget what it was, like Austin Brew Supply or something like that, and then we found Midwest Supply. So I went to college out in Indiana, Purdue, and we found Midwest Supplies, which apparently now I think is owned by AB at this point.
Well, they kind of own everything.
Yeah,
right?
But it was out of Minneapolis, and we get a lot of our grain and brew stuff from there, and we just kind of brew. First year we brewed at our friends, so you basically at Purdue, you're in a dorm freshman year. After that, you're off campus in our house, and so we'd go off campus and brew beer, and then they had Lafayette Brewing Company. It was a little brew pub in downtown Lafayette that we would always go to.
It's always a great idea to open up a brewery in a college town. I mean,
yeah,
you just, like I said, you're just printing your own money at that point.
Oh, it was awesome. We were getting growlers and things like that, but then we were also like, we were stupid. I think we stole like the whole like soda keg system. We had Sprite on tap, and then we started using the corny keg for our own beers, but.
And that's cool because this is a tough business to get into. I mean, yeah, it's you go around and you see a new brewery popping up pretty much every other month around here, which is great. if you're a beer guy, that's perfect. I mean, but people don't realize the amount of work it takes just to get to where the point where you can open your doors
Yeah.
and have your beers.
Yeah, I think it's true for any business, but brewing's kind of special. I think it's a lot of people are driven by the passion of doing it, and then I think once we all get into it and start doing it, and then everyone that's open, and you get back and you have a talk about how you opened and how you got to where you're going, and everyone's like, oh man, that was rough.
It's hard. It is kind of hard, and but that also allows people to appreciate what you guys do more. You know what I mean? Like, you know the kind of work it goes into putting a good beer out like you guys do. I mean, right now I'm drinking Nuclear Seduction. I told you when I got here, when you asked me what I wanted to drink, and this is what I first said right off the bat, because I saw that you posted on social media. If you don't follow Outer Light, please go to Facebook or Instagram and follow them. You guys are on Twitter as well, right?
Twitter we kind of lost.
Yeah, I deleted my Twitter too. I'm not a Twitter.
Yeah, we were. It was at one point we lost the login.
Okay.
And we were just like, never mind.
Never mind. Yeah, because people just go on Twitter to argue nowadays anyway. So
yeah, so it's Instagram.
Not worth it.
We're heavy on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, and I see you guys on there. That's where I saw, hey, we can Nuclear Seduction, and it'll be available this Wednesday. So if you want some of this, get down here. Now, I have to say that one of the draws for me when you guys first opened, I'm a career submariner. I did 24 years in the Navy, and most of them here at Groton on the base. It's 91, and your first beer that I ever had was Seduction, and the tap handle that drew me right. I mean, that was instant. There's a submarine on that tap handle. I'm drinking that.
Yeah.
And I loved the beer. I loved it, and then I loved when you guys came out with the Nuclear Seduction, because I don't know if that's on purpose.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it was Seduction, and then we're like, well, what sounds bigger if we did a double of Seduction? I just don't feel like calling it double Seduction. We're going to call it Nuclear Seduction.
Right, and then, the guys that I served with in the Navy that are nuclear trained guys are like, oh, that's cool too. So I love that. I love that it's kind of like, a little tribute to the local sub base here and people that serve around here. So thanks for that. And like I said, I'm looking over there and I can see it. Is that one of them over there? I can't really see.
Yeah. Yep, right down over there.
And I love that. And it's pretty cool that if you go in any bar in southeastern Connecticut and you see your guys, and that tap handle always stands out to me. So I always know I'm going to grab me a Seduction. So because I just like that, to watch them pull that submarine. It's so cool. So so Nuclear Seduction, these kind of beers are awesome. I mean, before we came on the air, we talked a little bit about making the different kinds of beer and what's popular right now, because everybody likes the hazy New England IPAs.
Right.
I like the doubles and triples, especially if they're in New England. But like the sours, that's a popular thing now. But you guys have an awesome variety. Like, you can look over at the tap lists, and you guys got doubles, you got coffee stouts, you got APAs. You want an Irish red. There's Hefeweizen on there. So that's another thing that I think makes you guys stand above any place else, is you have such a wide variety.
Yeah, I think that's what we've always wanted. You always want a variety. I think we also want to prove that we can brew beer, we can brew beer well, and what way to showcase that by being able to nail a bunch of different styles. It's not just about what's super popular these days. I mean, obviously we want to have that, and it's fun to have all that and try all that, but you got to get a little crazy. The Irish ale was a fun thing, and unfortunately that was like right at the start of COVID. But we used whiskey malt. You got like a peated whiskey malt, and so it's a little bit of peat, a little bit of smoke and peat, and a little Belgian aromatic malt in there too. And so it's super unique, and at a lower ABV, it's kind of something we came up on our own, kind of marrying a Scotch ale with a traditional Irish ale.
Right.
And it's just fun, being a little creative and trying to do stuff like that.
Right. So, my microphone has been off this entire time. I hope yours picked it up. So anyway, I hope you guys watching on Facebook got all that. So I'll have to fix that later on. But anyway, we're just talking about the different styles of beer and the COVID thing. You guys had, you were saying you had the whiskey, it was like a whiskey, was a stout, right? Kind of like for a St. Patrick's Day kind of deal?
Oh, the Irish, yeah.
The Irish, the Irish red, yeah.
We just called it an Irish ale. It's kind of a catch-all. It's not truly like the Irish ale, but
right.
It's that mix between Scotch and Irish, yeah.
Okay. So when that all started, now did you guys close down right away? I mean, did you have to be told, hey, you guys got to shut down now? Or
No, no one told anyone had to shut down. I think it was like, what, Friday? It was Friday the 13th.
Yeah. 'Cause my last day of work was the 16th, so I went into work Monday and they told me to go home.
It was like one day where like all the breweries were getting, everyone was kind of online talking, saying like, what are we going to do? And people were like, oh, we're, no longer are we going to refill people's growlers.
Right, that makes sense.
You need a fresh growler. And then as soon as we all said, we all went to like, you need a fresh growler, it was like, well, the tap room's closed.
Oh.
And I remember being glued. I don't care about, I'm not very good at caring like super into politics and watching like, I love watching the news, but I don't know if it's mainly for the weather.
Yeah.
But just trying to figure out what was going to happen and were we essential? Were they going to shut us down? So I was just like all over, like just so nervous what was going to happen, and then essentially liquor stores got deemed essential, and we supply the liquor stores. And
so you had to keep brewing.
And so that was, kind of stayed around. We laid ourselves and everyone else off except our taproom manager. That was about it.
Yeah.
And then we had like a little stint of not much going on until all those PPP loans and things came through, and kind of got everyone back in and sort of able to go almost full steam. I think the keg business is missing. That side is still, obviously, without all the bars and restaurants, that's a good portion of what we've gone in to do, as well as, the canning that we started 3 or so years ago.
Right.
And now the cans are definitely up in sales for sure, and it's the grab for aluminum. We're like rationing right now. We can't get cans until mid-September.
Oh, wow.
It's not so much as people talk about aluminum shortage. It's not a shortage. It's the demand's so high, it's hard to
keep up
because the lead times have been pushed out so far, and it's $20,000 a trailer. So you're not, during COVID times, we're not about to pull the trigger on buying $20,000 worth of cans when you don't know what's going to happen. So that was kind of crazy.
So thankfully everybody says there's watching right now. They say they can hear us fine, so I didn't lose any of that. So that's kind of good. So we have like 11 people watching. That's good. People are just getting home and settling in for the night. So I thanks everyone who's tuned in to Facebook Live. I have a pretty good following. Like eventually, people will just jump on and watch, or they'll go back and watch it later. So it's actually done pretty well. So like I told you before we came on too, this is my hobby. Drinking beer is my hobby, I guess. So, but I like good beer. You know what I mean? Like I'll drink a PBR, I'll drink a Coors Light. If someone hands me a Coors Light, I'll drink it.
Yeah.
I don't have my little hashtag that I use all the time is don't beer shame. Like people like it's like music, right? Like you go on my iPod and you'll find like Norwegian death metal and the New Kids on the Block. You know what I mean? Like you don't music shame, you don't beer shame. People like what they like. If guys want to drink the seltzers, let them drink the seltzer. You know what I mean? So what? You like what you like. Plus, you know what? Those seltzers are pretty good when it's like super hot out and we're out on the lake and boat.
I've still never actually tried it.
They're actually not bad.
Like I've sipped one. I've still never tasted a White Claw or a Truly.
The lemonade Truly. If you're gonna do one, do the lemonade Truly.
I just have a hard time drinking like my wife calls it bubble water. Whatever like the Polar, all those seltzers. I can't drink them. They're like it just. I don't know what it is.
I like them because like you drink enough beer. When it's hot out, sometimes the beers don't go down as easy. Like especially like this, like a double IPA is not a beer to drink when it's 100 degrees outside.
No, that's the green tea.
Yeah, that's the green tea. Yes, absolutely. And I have finished my cutting my grass.
Once you're done with that one, you got to get.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that one. So, but this is nuclear subduction. This is a Imperial IPA, and I wrote down because I had this. I gave this a 4 or 5 in Untapped, and I told you Salvo was my favorite.
Yeah. And
a Salvo I gave a 5. So you guys make some awesome beers here. So if you guys have not been here, you need to get here. You guys are open. You open on Wednesdays, right?
Now Tuesdays through Sundays basically, but Wednesdays for actual sit down. Curbside on Tuesday.
Okay, so that was the other thing I was going to bring up when we were talking about the COVID. A lot of places did. Like I went up to Proclamation. I hit Longleaf. I hit a couple spots. And I'm lucky because I can get your cans locally. Right. Places I can't get, I did hit up a couple times. Because I like it, you can go and you can buy, if you want to just buy a 2-4 pack, you can buy. I don't want to commit to a case.
Yeah.
Right? Because Treehouse, you have to commit to a case.
Yeah, we're more or less unlimited and get whatever 6-pack you want.
Yes, and if I want to just have 4, or just I buy 8, and that's cool. Like, or if I wanted to buy a case, I would just get a couple other guys to chip in. I wasn't trying to go to those bigger places and be like, hey, it's a 1 case minimum. So like you guys, I said Fox Farm, they're great, with the curbside. So that was great, and I'm glad that you guys did that. Now you have right outside here, you have that little sit-down area. Weather's been a little bit warm,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
It's been humid.
But this is like a great spot. Like I told you earlier, we came here for your granite party, and we had a band out there, and we came for Oktoberfest, and we come to several of the outdoor events you guys have with the food trucks and music
I'm gonna
outside.
miss all that this year.
I know it sucks, but those things are always fun. We look forward to those every single year. So, like everything else this year, pretty much a wash. But you can still come here and have awesome beers. So let's talk about a little bit about you now for a minute. Like you said, you got into it like in '98, right? You said you went to Purdue, and you were working on meteorology, right? You were going to be a weatherman.
Yeah.
They said you watched the news for the weather. That's what made me remember that you did that, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't stick with that.
No. Well, so September 11th happened, and basically that was a sort of a recession that happened. And so trying to find weather jobs when I was graduating, and it was like 2002, was really hard. There wasn't much out there. The government wasn't hiring where a lot of jobs were. And TV stations, I never really wanted to get into TV. TV's tough. I had a cousin that went into TV, and you basically you have to work in really small markets in the middle of nowhere America to work your way up, and it's a tough way to go, And I wasn't too into traveling and trying to be super far away.
Yeah.
So I never did that. So it just kind of didn't work out. I applied to go to grad school. I got into grad school, and at the same time, just after I got in, I got offered a job in San Francisco with forecasting and green shipping routes.
That's pretty cool.
But it was like $44,000 a year in downtown San Francisco, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
No.
I was like,
you have to get you a closet somewhere, right?
Yeah, so I was like, I'm just gonna go to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you went back to school and you went into some it says energy management industry.
Yeah. So then I got into environmental consulting. So I did that for a while, and then I worked with the BMW hydrogen car for a while.
Oh, that's cool.
There was like a little marketing deal that I did for a little bit. And then I got that turned me into some kind of, it was in hydrogen fuel cells for a little bit.
That's neat though.
That was crazy.
That's different though.
Yeah, that's super different. Yeah. And then right after that, I got into energy consulting.
Right.
Done a lot of different things. And finally, while I was doing that, I went and got my MBA. And when I finished my MBA, my partner was finishing, Matt, finished it at the same time. And I said I was going to do this. Are you in? And he said, yeah.
Awesome.
And
We thank you for that, because now we have all these awesome beers. So now let's talk about accolades you guys have gotten, right? I know you guys got a gold medal at the Great International Beer Festival for Fireside. Or Firelands, the smoked cherry porter. And that is one of my favorite beers. I gave that a good score on tap as well. And I'm not a porter guy. Last week on my show, my buddy wanted to do a porter. They have one at these guys, and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And but I was surprised because when he said, "Oh, we're gonna drink this," and he brought the glass out. But no, I mean, the word smoked and cherry again. Excellent marketing from you guys, because that was what stuck me right in.
Oh, really?
So,
A lot of times when I tell people smoke, they're like, oh, God, no, it's going to taste like barbecue.
No, absolutely not. It didn't at all. It was.
No, it's super light. It's a lot of what we do, I think, when you see it, a lot of things we do is subtle enough to where people can kind of get into it. And there's not so much cherry in that beer, and there's not so much smoke in that beer. And depending on who you are or the beer you tried before that, you might get the smoke,
Right.
You might get the cherry.
Or sometimes when you look at the label, you say, okay, as someone who drinks a lot of beer, I'm always looking, if it's something new, I'm going to look at the label and look at what the description is, or if I'm coming to the tasting room, I'll talk to the beer tender and say, what's this all about, and they'll give me a description, or I even look at Untapped, so I know what to expect.
Yep.
And when I drank that, I got exactly what it said it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing was like overpowering. Like I said, a lot of the times you get those beers that say they're smoked or they say they're fruit, and you get way too much of one thing and not enough of another thing, and it's just overpowering.
Yeah.
And it makes it not good.
Yeah.
And that is super. That beer was super tasty, and I think I ended up with a growler with that day, and I brought home. So That's a great beer. So congratulations on that. Now, have you guys won any other awards since then? That was in 2017, right?
2017, yeah. So we don't. The problem is we don't send our beer anywhere usually.
Okay.
But we actually did last year send beer to the Great International Beer Festival, and I believe we got a silver for Lonesome Boatman.
Excellent. Which is another awesome beer, Lonesome Boatman. That's your flagship, right?
Yeah.
That's your flagship. That one and Seduction. Those are the two that you can find at like every 99s or any place you go around here.
And Seduction are by far the most around.
And that's great. Because it must be cool. Like you walk into a local restaurant and you see your beer at the bar on a beer tap. It's pretty awesome.
It's awesome.
Someday let's try for that. Someday I'd like to learn how to like I've done home brews.
Yep.
And my wife helped me. She actually was pretty cool because I made that porter, and then I made an IPA, just a regular IPA, and I dry hopped it, and it was actually really good. And it was like during the NHL playoffs, so I called it playoff beer IPA. And my wife was awesome. Like she helped me like strain it. She helped me bottle it. So that was kind of cool. I got her involved with it. But like I'd like to do it on a large scale someday. Like me and my buddies always have these grand ideas where we want to go do that.
Well, if you want to get dirty with us one day,
you're
always welcome.
Yeah, I told when I had Jeanette from Epic here on, I told her, I said, I want to go on brew day. I want to go, man, from start to finish.
Oh, yeah.
I want to spend the whole day. I want to get dirty. I want to do it. So maybe that'll change my mind if I still want to do it, but I doubt it.
Get in some tanks, sweat a little bit.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's go. Get in the tank. Like I guess so. You get in the tank and you clean it because Becca was saying that she has a robot now that goes in with a pump that goes in and cleans the tanks.
That would be sick.
Yeah. Instead of having to climb it, I'm down. I've cleaned shit tanks on submarines. So
yeah.
A beer tank's not going to bother me whatsoever.
No. You can lick the beer tank.
No. I might. You never know. So we talked about. So what's out of all the beers that you guys have brewed, what is your personal favorite?
My personal, so I've got two personal favorites, but so I guess it depends on the season. So right now we have Ninja Trail Green Tea Pale Ale,
Which I love.
and that is my all-time favorite for the summer. It's like green tea iced tea in a beer form. It's just light, it's easy, it's crushable,
Super.
and I can just drink it all day long. I love that.
It's got what I like about that. It has a great aftertaste.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. Like you forget, almost like you forget you're drinking the beer. You just smash it down, and it's so like I don't know. You definitely get the green tea when you
It's
drink
unique,
it.
but it works, and it's so good. I mean, there's people, if you're not a tea fan, you're not going to like it.
It's
But
good.
Beyond that, if you like tea, I mean, it's great. And I've only found one other. There's a collaboration green tea I found one time years ago, but it's the only other green tea beer I've ever really had. Another one we have is Swell Toast Lager. That's one we do in April usually.
Yeah.
It's basically a Marzen or like, an amber lager, and we dry hop it with Citra. And it turns it straight from like this lager beer to, it's like a crisp pale ale. So it's really cool what the dry hop does to it.
Yeah.
So those are kind of two of my favorites. And then our Oktoberfest was a homebrew I did. We were pitching kind of like private investor at that time, and we just made this Oktoberfest, and we just replicated it last year. We never did an Oktoberfest yet, and it became a super favorite of mine too.
Nice.
There's always multiple. It's so hard to pick just one.
So now we just drank. I just drank some Seduction, nuclear Seduction. So we had a pour. You asked me what are we drinking now?
So this is actually the brains of Craig, who's he's behind us back there somewhere, finishing up a double brew of Seduction today. And something we haven't. It's hard to find time. We're pretty slammed in there all the time. So when you're doing a sour takes up tank space. It takes up brew house space for a couple extra days. So when you're trying to turn and burn and get things done, it's really hard to find the time to do it. So with COVID, we've had a little extra time to pump out some more sours, and we've decided to start canning them too. And we're like, what could be a fun concept? Because with the sour, you're just like, how can you get creative? Think of drinks, think of certain things that you had before, and we're like, mimosa. Like, okay. And then he's like, why don't we let's do some pineapple, and why not some grape juice, like some Chardonnay grape juice.
Yeah.
So basically, and then Hallertau Blanc and Nelson Sauvin. So you're getting like the hops are blending themselves to stone fruits to like gravy type of like wine-like flavors. Those hops are amazing. Nelson was so popular for that. I think it's lost that popularity.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of beers with Nelson hops anymore.
No,
they always like this. Idaho is the new thing. The Idaho hops are like, I don't know if you guys use those.
I know 7 Big Cloud Break. We've been using that since the beginning.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just something I started noticing.
Yeah.
But when I drink, I'm like, cool. Idaho hops I haven't had anything, but it's always like the Citra, the Galaxy, the Australian hops, and it's just all this other stuff. But yeah. You haven't seen too much Nelson anymore.
No, but they're super clean, and it's almost a polarizing hop now because people are like, I don't know about that IPA, and you're like, well, it's got Nelson. I think people have kind of lost what Nelson is.
Right.
I think people that want tropical and juicy, and when they get an IPA with Nelson, like, wait, where's the tropical juicy? This is not an IPA. And they're like, it's Nelson. So it's still. But in this beer, it lends itself. It's so perfect, and so there's Chardonnay juice in there, and there's pineapple, and it's just it's a sour IPA with all those things in it, and it's
cheers, brother. Thank you.
And I told you before we started the show, I'm not a sour fan. I'm not even a tart beer fan, but I can do a whole glass of this.
This is good.
Yeah,
This is really good.
super nice. If you're going for mimosa, I think we hit it.
I think so, because you get the citrus, and you get the. So I got the citrus. If you didn't say pineapple, I wouldn't be thinking pineapple.
Right.
I'd be thinking more maybe grapefruit or orange.
Right, and I think
I get that
it
citrus.
mixed in to give it that citrus,
Right.
And it's definitely more orange than you get pineapple.
Yes, and I definitely get like champagne note. You know what I'm saying? I get like a wine note.
So what we also used was the amylase. I probably don't even say that right. Just read bags. But that's what. So when we brewed the Brew IPA one time, the batch 500, 500 batch. That's where right before brews became really popular. That ferments it down to 0. So basically the same gravity.
Flavor.
Same gravity as specific gravity as water.
Right.
So it dries the whole thing out. So it's giving it that champagne feel. So when we're going for mimosa, you got to dry it out and make it champagne feel.
That's tasty, man. That's really good. My wife would probably like that too. She's not a beer person, but I know whenever she's going to drink a beer, she's like, just order me something that you think I like. And I would order her that.
I could drink this in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, I can drink any beer.
Yeah, that's true.
Mom, if you're listening, that's not true.
Yeah.
My mom was watching, so I don't know if she's still watching. But no, this is really good, man. I really like this. And if you guys can't see, I don't know if you can tell on Facebook right now, but these glasses. This is a glass. This is not a plastic cup. This is actually a glass, and this is very cool. So definitely come down here and try this out. This one was called
Brunches of Fun.
Brunches of Fun, and because this is.
And don't worry, it's a 7.5% sour IPA.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, and this is a true. Like to me, you get those sours like we talked about, the 450, which their beers are phenomenal, but it's in its true sense of the word, it's not really a sour. It's just a fruited ale.
Yeah.
This is like in the sour wheelhouse.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of fruit. There's not a lot of pineapple in this.
Yeah.
So it's not like
just enough.
Like we told you, like I told you earlier, a lot of people are dumping 55 to 110 gallons of puree in the beer to get that really slushy thing going.
Right.
But like with this is like 3 little bags of pineapple just to set it with that kind of citrus note.
Yeah, you definitely. I mean, you get it right away. And then after it settles for a second, that's when you get, the champagne part of the mimosa. So awesome! This is a great job, you guys. This is really good.
Yes, we're super proud of this one.
So pay some bills here. Some GNS Auto Sales. If you're in the market for a used vehicle at a great price, head on down to GNS Auto Sales in Franklin, Connecticut, and take a look at their great selection. BMW, Audi, Dodge, Chevy, and Ford, and so much more. Whether it's an oil change, brake repair, or the check engine light, let Pat, Wendy, and their team of professionals take care of all of their automotive needs. That's GNS Auto Sales, located on Route 32 in Franklin. Give them a call at 860-383-0050, or find them on the web at www.gnsautosallsllc.com. Unify CT is a local full-service marketing and branding agency that helps your business strategize, develop, and implement a marketing plan using the best platforms and tools to connect you with the right customers quickly. Find them on Facebook at Unify CT or on Instagram, Unify_CT, or call Laura directly at 860-326-0050. 6003. One of our newer sponsors, These Guys Brewing Company. You got a taste for exquisitely crafted beer and pub grub with fruity flair? These Guys Brewing Company on Franklin Street in Norwich, Connecticut has got what you're craving. Enjoy a variety of classic and unique craft beers brewed on site and indulge in a delicious meal with seasonal dishes from their scratch kitchen. And check them out on Facebook or online at theseguysbrewing.com to stay up to date with their freshest beers, current menu, and upcoming events. These Guys Brewing Company, where it's all about good times, great food, and fantastic craft beer. And then I have a new sponsor today, Tom. Young man that lives next door to me started up his own business. He's a hardworking kid. He's a college kid. He started a business called Imperial Essentials. And it was created by college student Brendan Doyle, who wanted to escape the realities of society. His mission to create a branded message that supports the people who are going through the tough times of life. Check them out at www.imperialessentials.com and also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it's pretty cool. I had a chance to talk to him a little bit. I'm friends with his parents, and we had the idea of maybe him being a sponsor. And I'm wearing his hat tonight, so you see I forget what the name of this. It's called the Third Eye.
Yep.
It has another Egyptian name. So one of his close friends passed away, and he had this tattoo. That's what his clothing all has this on. So it's a really cool story. Go to www.imperialessentials.com and look it up. Look up the story. It's a really cool story. I don't want to ruin it. You should go up and check out the backstory of the business and why he did this, and it's very cool. And his clothes are pretty awesome too. So go to the website, check it out. Grab yourself a hoodie, a ball cap, a t-shirt, whatever they got on there. Check them out. So thanks to them. And again, we are live at at Outer Lake Brewing Company today. I said that a million times last week. And we are with Tom Drejer. He's the co-owner and brewer. And we drank some Nuclear Seduction. It's awesome. And we just drank Brunches of Fun, which is very awesome. It's a mimosa-themed sour. It's pretty great. So let's a little bit more about how you guys got started. Now you have a partner, and his name is Matt. Okay, so what? Besides when you were in college, and you were trying to decide what you wanted to do, or you just had the wild idea to do this. Why did you pick here?
So somewhat selfishly, so Matt and I are both from Connecticut. I grew up in central Connecticut in Cromwell. He grew up in Northford, North Branford, shoreline-esque. And then in college, for the first time, I tried surfing, and I loved it. And I moved back I tried it in Hawaii. Luckily, I got to go out there and do that. And then I came back here, and I went over to Rhode Island, right over the border here, and just kind of got back into surfing. I started getting into surfing, really. This is early 2000s, and kind of haven't looked back since, and I've always kind of just wanted to get closer towards. I want to be next to that Rhode Island border. I mean, we're 20 minutes away right there from the coast.
So you can go to Musqueam, because surfing's pretty good there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't surf in Connecticut. Anyone that's from here.
If the storms are big enough, you actually can.
Maybe tomorrow. So
yeah, right.
Maybe tomorrow we're getting that Isaiah, whatever it's called, whatever that's coming. So Isaiah. It's hard to people keep mispronouncing. But are you planning on going out tomorrow?
No. So what happens is when it's off the coast, it's a lot better. When it's coming inland, so it's all essentially just onshore waves. So essentially, when you're a surfer, what you want is waves offshore.
Well, we don't want.
This doesn't make sense. You don't think it takes a swell.
No, it did. Yeah, exactly. I grew up on the Jersey Shore, so there's some great surfing down there. I don't know if you've ever been down there. Manasquan Inlet is a legendary place. I used to surf when I was younger, and there was a place called the North End, not the same as Hawaii. It was in Long Branch, New Jersey, where I grew up, and the North End is where the locals went.
Yeah.
Right, because you had Seven Presidents Beach, and you had all these other parks, we call them bennies. I don't know what you'd call them here. The people that weren't from. They were from New York and North Jersey, New York City.
We're Connecticutans, if you're from Connecticut.
Connecticutans? No, we didn't really get too many people in the Jersey Shore from Connecticut. Mostly it was North Jersey, the city area, and New York City. That was a stone's throw from the city.
Yeah, Rhode Island's so small, you get people from Connecticut.
You get people
from Rhode Island, from Mass. Yeah, you even go New Hampshire, Maine. You'll see Jersey. You'll see New York. It all kind of comes in, and there was a bunch of guys. So I don't know if you ever looked at first cans would be. There's beach cans, and there's a bunch of local guys from Rhode Island that made all these like different license plates, and one was Connecticut, and there's a name for every state, and it was awesome. It was pretty funny.
I haven't heard that one. That's a good one. And I've lived here almost 30 years, and I've never heard that one. So Connecticut, but that's good. So, like, why Groton?
Groton, well, it was kind of serendipitous, well, not sort of serendipitous. It was hard to, when you're looking for industrial space, so we were looking anywhere from Old Saybrook to Groton, and essentially, it's really hard to open a brewery on a septic system. Really hard. So we essentially lost everything from Old Saybrook to about East Lyme. So it became East Lyme to Groton. And then when you look for industrial space between there's not much. Right. So we basically came across this spot, one other spot that we thought was a little too big for us. Like, we can't afford this, it's too big. And then, after a year, we're like, oh crap, we should have got that spot because it had way more space. But luckily here, we've sort of expanded bays down. So there's been the room for us to kind of grow here.
And it's great. I mean, so I've been coming here since you guys opened, and every time I come here, it's always good. There's always, a good amount of people here, and there's always, I see a lot of the same faces when I come here, and that's always good when you get like a following and people that are, super loyal. And I live a little bit further away, and now that I am working a little bit later, I work right here at EB, so I can just leave and I can stop in on the way home.
Yeah,
my job before.
Our hours are almost tailored to EB shift changes.
Yeah, that's perfect. But yeah, I work till like 3:34, so when my kid doesn't have sports to go, I can stop by on the way home and grab a growler, or I can just come in and have a sip. So I'm glad I have that now, because I pass you guys every single day.
Yeah.
So before I got this newer job, I was getting out at 2. So you guys open at 3. You used to open at 3.
We 2:30 on Fridays for the shift change.
Right.
And then things during COVID got a little weird, and now we basically open at 2.
Okay. So either way, I work late now, so
yeah.
That's good. I can come in. So
yeah,
that's awesome. And listen, we talked a little bit about how you guys kind of honored the military community here with the Subduction Ale. So they're probably a good portion of your customer base.
Yeah, we see a lot of the younger guys. We don't see a lot of the younger guys. I think craft beer is not the forte of a lot of the younger guys, but we do see a lot of the older guys.
That's good, and I'm an older guy. I just like local. Glad that you guys are part of the Connecticut Beer Guild, right? The Brewers Guild, which is great. I saw you guys' logo on there, which was awesome. So, did you guys collaborate with any other local breweries, or?
Yeah, I think then that's a hard thing to do, especially as lives get busier for us. Like, we've got a lot of kids that enter the picture, so it's harder to get out and about. But we did one with Little House in the fall, I believe. And then with COVID happening, we kind of slowed down. We're doing a reciprocal one eventually with them at some point. We'd like to get, we talked with Tox a little bit here. We'll do something with them eventually. We're thinking like anniversary time, because we have the same anniversary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same weekend. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. I think that would be actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
because it was a Groton, New London thing. And
right. Last year, I think he pitched it to us, and it was like, it was like almost too hard to think about. It was like getting too close, but like I thought it was a pretty cool concept.
Because he's got a new baby too. So all you guys, because I'm trying to get him on.
Maybe we need to name something after babies or something.
Yeah, maybe you should do that. That's a cool idea. Because I've been trying to get him on too, and he's like, dude, I really want to come on, but as soon as everything slows down, I'll do it. So. That's another one of my favorites. One of the local spots that I like to go to. It does great beer too, and I'm lucky that I live in an area that has guys like you and Tox.
Yeah,
and
it's awesome when people open up around you that.
It's awesome.
Caliber of beer. So.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So, and I came here. I think it was 2 years ago. Some of my good friends, Mike and Margaret, got married, and then we came here for the wedding reception, and that was a blast. I told you when I first got here, it was so hot. Like, you couldn't even enjoy a beer. It was so hot here that day. And in fact, I think Margaret ended up sitting in one of we had a coolers over here that had water in it. I think she ended up with her dress on and everything, sitting in here. But I think it's cool that you guys offer the tasting room for things like that. Because that actually was was pretty neat. If it had been like 10 degrees cooler, it'd have been even better.
Yeah.
But whenever it's too hot and you don't want to drink beer, then that's just way too hot.
Yeah.
So then do you guys host other things too? Like what kind of events do you guys host mostly?
Usually they're more local. It's more around the holidays. So as we've grown, it's been tougher. So when people want to shut us down, we only have this room. So when people want to do an event, it's like, hey, we want to do it on like Friday afternoon or Friday night. You're like, oh, like that's the best time.
Right.
It's like it's hard for us to shut down unless the rates go way up if you want to do something.
Right,
like
because
that.
you guys still need to make money.
Yeah,
It's
so
a business at the end of the day. You got to make it.
So it's Mondays and Tuesdays that we have it, or people will shut down like an hour or so early, and people will do events. So there's all sorts of different kind of events. People, a lot of them are like birthday parties. It's probably the most popular thing.
Yeah.
People don't mind staying out late and and doing that kind of
Especially
thing.
if they're local too.
Yeah, they'll throw a DJ in the corner.
Yeah.
and-
Now I'll be 50 in a couple weeks, and we actually thought one of the places we thought about coming was here, but we're actually going to Portland, Maine
Nice.
for the weekend. So
Yeah.
there's like 20 of us going. Now I don't know how that's going to work with the COVID rules. I know there's like a minimum, like a maximum amount of people you can be with. It's like 8 people, so we're gonna have to split up in a couple groups.
Yeah, every state's a little different. We've gotten inquiries about that with people. They've had larger groups. They're like, can we just we don't care. You have to put us at different tables. Just do it.
That's good though. I mean, you guys have been super accommodating throughout this whole process. And I said the curbside stuff where you just pull up and you guys chuck beer in the car. That's a game changer. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. I mean, yes, there will be a time when I want to go because now you guys are starting to open back up, and I want to come in and I want to sit down at the bar and I want to just have a couple pours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did at first when this whole thing started. It was kind of weird because no one knew what was going on.
Oh, so weird.
And then when I saw all these things coming up, like, oh, you can order your beer online and you can set up a time to come pick it
We
up.
were all scrambling to make online stores, like stuff we don't even know. No one knew what they were doing.
Right.
We were just like, let's try.
But you guys
How
do.
do we do this?
You wing it and you make sure it works. You make it work, and it worked great. And you guys are still here, which is a great thing because I know I have a lot of good friends that are in business. They have their own small businesses, and they weren't sure if they could make it through this. It started extending out a little further.
Yeah, I think we're all nervous for the fall and winter with what's going to happen. Are we
He's going to do a redo, but luckily, and I think Dr. Fauci was with the governor today. Right before I showed up, I was kind of watching but not watching. Whenever the governor talks, I kind of tune him out. But when Fauci was on, I was hearing him say that Connecticut's really in a good spot.
Right, and they're like, if we keep doing what we're doing, we might be able to just keep it like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Listen, the big test is going to be in a couple of weeks when the kids go back to school.
Yeah.
I have an 8th grader and a sophomore in high school. Both of my kids are athletes, so they're worried about their sports. My son's a lacrosse player, and we had tournaments this summer, and we had 2 tournaments up in New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, and that worked out perfect. I mean, there was no issues. People wore their masks. So that actually was good. That was encouraging.
Yeah.
Now the fall's coming, and besides lacrosse, he plays soccer for Griswold High School. So the CIAC just came out with a rule that said they were going to allow the kids to play abbreviated schedule and regional only. So that's kind of like, my kids can care less about going to school, right? Because every kid, my daughter is a straight A student, but she would rather stay home and homeschool.
Yeah.
My kid was just like, whatever, I just want to go see my friends.
Right.
The main thing for them is my daughter cheers competitively at the ECE gym in Montville, and my son again plays lacrosse and soccer in the fall, and he just wants to play.
Yeah.
They've been practicing. They have a parent that runs a little team, but he's there right now practicing, so they're ready. They want to just go. So I'm just hoping that we can still do all these things. I know concerts are probably not going to happen until next summer, which is bummed because the Wu-Tang already got canceled.
Yes.
And they were supposed to be back in October.
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, well, good friends of mine had tickets to see Rage, and they were very disappointed because they've been waiting for this to come back, for them to come back on tour. Yeah. So, but they're gonna. It's not canceled. This is postponed. So, Wu-Tang was rescheduled for October, and that's probably not going to happen now. And it's super disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Wu-Tang. I mean, my 2 favorites here, Biggie and Pac. Obviously, they're not putting any concerts on anytime soon. Maybe someday when I go in the afterlife, I'll see him again. But But Wu-Tang is it for me, and I'm so disappointed that I know it's probably not going to happen. We saw them here a couple years ago when they played at Mohegan, and they were awesome. So, yeah, but it is what it is. But at least you guys can still do your thing here. You still have restaurants, you still have bars that you have to provide your beers to.
Yeah, beer's going out, people are going out. It's just everything's, seating is limited. Not every bar and restaurant has the opportunity to have big parking lots to put things in, so everyone's just kind of doing what they can.
Now, are you guys allowing anyone in the tasting room, or is it just outside?
Both. So, we got the 50% indoor.
Okay.
So we have 4 tables in here. Almost, I don't know, you guys can't see it, but there's 3 other tables.
At wide angle, yeah. There's 3 other tables here, just like the one that we're sitting at here. They're about 10 feet apart, 15 feet apart. So if you're concerned about that, then absolutely, this is social distancing right here.
Yeah.
And they have a really nice, you have a big old party tent outside with a bunch of picnic tables on it.
Yeah, and even the indoor seating has a massive garage door open up, so it's not as, weird.
Right, yeah, you have this big door on the side here. So one other thing, let's talk about the logo. Okay, so when you guys first opened up in 2015, you had the lighthouse from Stonington.
Old Sabre.
Okay, I'm sorry, Old Sabre. So what was the draw of the old logo? Why did you choose the Old Sabre lighthouse?
So originally we thought this is, you're creating a business plan and you're like, all right, we're going for it. We're going to open a brewery where we want to do it. And then ideally, and I probably other people that own businesses or whatever probably think the same thing or might go through the same thing. You're like, we're going to be an Old Sabre. And we're going to call ourselves Outer Light. And the whole thing was years ago, my father had this little junky 17-foot boat, and we were all old enough to get out on a boat. We had a 30-pack of some crappy beer at the time, and we're out there fishing and caught a bunch of little sand sharks and stuff, and right out by the Outer Light in Old Saybrook, and that was kind of cool. I was just with friends, and just the same friends that we brewed around and shared the beer with, and so we're like, oh, Outer Light, that sounds like kind of like a cool name. And then we went with the Saybrook Lighthouse, which is, the iconic, preserve the sound license plate deal and all that. And so we went with that original logo, and we did 99 designs. We're like, I don't know, how do we find someone to design a logo?
It's hard. Yeah. When I was trying to design mine, my wife helped me out, and it was tough, trying to find something cool, something that was kind of eye-catching, but something that kind of put what your business was in a small picture, because you can't be too elaborate.
Right, and at the time, when we started in the business plan was started in 2012, and so when you're looking at things around then, nothing was really modernized yet. The really simple, this clean, modern logo wasn't a thing in 2012.
Right.
Even though that seems like that was yesterday.
Right, it's 8 years ago.
But so we saw all these designs, and we went with this lighthouse design with some green on the side, and as we're going through, we're like, man, this is really 90s brew pub.
Right. It's very cool. Now, in 2017, you rebranded, and you started. That was also when you guys started canning as well.
Yeah. So what we had to do was we had to design cans, and a lot of people probably don't even know we bottled for a little bit. And
I didn't know that.
It was Lonesome Boatman and coffee stuff. That's all we bottled.
Really? I didn't even know that.
And we had this big line back there, and not big, it was tiny, but it took 5 people to run this tiny little thing. It was a nightmare. And the logo was kind of based on the old one, and you couldn't even pick it out on the shelf. It was kind of like a horrible slap together job, but that's kind of the whole grassroots thing of what we've done. And then we sat down with the ever popular Nick Gamma, he's a graphic designer who he's done really cool stuff. Whole Viacom guy that worked with designed all the album covers for Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, nice!
There's a lot of cool stuff like that.
I'm an old school hip hop guy, so that resonates with me. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we started working with a lot of different breweries, and we sat down with them, and we're like, listen, we need a can design, but we're not really happy with our logo. And he's like, why don't we just go for the whole shebang? Let's redesign the logo, just rebrand yourselves while you're coming out with these cans. And we said, all right, we would rather do that. And this logo speaks to more who we are. It tells our story, and we can't be more proud of what our year-round cans look like. And it's we get to play around a lot with these cans. Do a lot of different weird designs.
Yeah, your can art is so. I say can art because a lot of times you see these cans that are super elaborate. I drank this Abomination beer the other night. that was called Social Distancing. It was like a nuclear explosion and zombie, and it was like super cool. But I like the subtlety of your guys' stuff. Like,
we went with Queen.
Yes, I like it. It's very cool. It's original, and it's like it's colorful. So when it's in the cooler and you know what you're getting, like you're drawn to it. Like immediately you're drawn to, the nuclear trifle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In the beginning, I thought we did too well because people thought we were bought by AB when we rebranded.
Okay, really?
And I was like, oh, it's too clean. It's too clean. But I don't know, it's cool. Another thing I guess I'll share with you, so the 12 ounce can versus 16, probably not on the agenda, but like that's been a big like, I think argument for years with beer drinkers. We want 12 with a 16, and like when we started with the cans, people were like, oh my god, you're not putting the double in the 16. Like, how could you? And we're like, oh, I don't know. We're the beach theme, like lifestyle brand. Like, when I go to the beach, I'd love to have one a 12 ounce can. Things get warm,
Yep.
but over time, will the trend come back? Will it not? Blah blah blah. So we've kind of just stuck with the 12s, but we gave up. So come towards the end of this year, the fall,
You guys are going 16.
things will start changing to 16.
I will honestly tell you, I have never not picked a beer out of the cooler because it was in 12 ounce can. Never. That thought has never crossed my mind.
Yeah, there's just fans. I think personally, I don't know. I have this inside feeling, and I don't know what people think. I'd love to hear what people think.
Yeah.
Is there a coolness factor? I feel like you're a little bit more legit in a 16 ounce can.
Yeah, I mean, only because
But
it's the whole beer brand. Everybody else is doing it.
Right.
No, I get that, but I also think it's having the 12 ounce can is also kind of unique because you're one of a few that I've seen that still does it.
Right.
Like there's a couple, like Nightmare Brewing still brews a couple of their beers. One of their Imperials is in a 12 ounce can, but because it's like 12%.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't want to drink a 16 ounce of that. But no, that's cool that you guys are going to do 16s. But really, I mean, I think that most of the guys that I hang out with, we have a pretty cool little group that we're called the Brew Tank Clan.
Yeah.
There's like 30 of us. Yeah, right? So there's like 30 of us, and we're all big craft beer guys. And we get together once a month. It's been a while because of the COVID thing. And we're most of the guys from Brew Tank are going to Portland with us. We're bringing our wives up. But we get together once a month for a share. So the rule is everybody brings at least 4 cans of 4 different cans.
Yep.
And you have some great beers. Like, my best friend just went over 1,000 check-ins on tap the other day. And I think I'm like 3 away from, after I check that in, I'm like 5 away from 800. But you get to try all these different kinds of beers. And it really, I guess you say, educates your palate.
Yeah.
We're talking about beer. It's not wine. Like my mom and dad are like big wine people. So I guess when you say educate your palate, it's kind of different for a wine person.
Yeah.
But like if there was ever like a, what is that guy that does the wine? Sommelier? Sommelier, yeah. So that would be a cool job if they had a beer guy. Like I would love to do that.
Well, you have the Cicerone. You can become a Cicerone.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that.
They have classes and they have you can go up to different levels of it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I always think of The Simpsons when they hired Homer to be the quality assurance guy to taste all their duff coming out flying. I would who's going to hire me to do that? Because when I retire, that's totally what I want to do.
It became a big thing, I think at the start of the beginning of the craft beer movement and the recent movement of when 2010s when things started blowing up.
Right.
Cicerones kind of blew up, and I haven't heard it as much lately. It's kind of drifted a little bit. I think just because there's so many breweries, so much selection, I don't know that the Cicerone can keep on top of.
Yeah, it's too many. Right, because every time I go to one of my 2 spots that I get my shelfies from, I'll go there and there'll always be something cool. Like last week it was Hoax put out that ridiculous sour they just put out, that sherbet sour. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Hoax was actually pretty good.
Yeah, they have that whole sour series. Right?
Yeah. So it's like this intergalactic space warrior, but it's like the cover of it, like the can is like ice cream cones, and one of them's like a skull, one's an eye. But literally the sour is amazing. Like it tastes like you're drinking melted sherbet ice cream. It's so good. But every time I go there, there's always something new. Like, I can't. Every time I walk in,
I feel like all the rules. It's 15's era, like all the rules are broken.
yeah, totally.
You know, like how do you become a cicerone and be like, well, it's supposed to be like this, or this is the right way, and you're like, I don't know anymore.
You know, listen, I'm researching that when I go home tonight. But like I was saying, every time I go in a package store, it's at least $40, $50 every time I go in. Because I'm going to find something that I like, you know, something new. They'll throw something. It's almost like I'm like their target customer, right? Because this guy, every time this guy comes in, he's buying something different. Because I like to try different things. Like, I'm not afraid to go out. Like the first time I saw your Ninja Trip, I'm like, green tea and beer? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on this because it sounds cool.
I grew up near Ely, Kansas, in Middletown, and that was the fun. I've gone there forever.
Great spot. Yeah.
Now I don't live very close, so it's really hard to get up there. But that was the fun. You go with friends, and people just choose beers for each other. You know, try something new.
It's good. I like going there because it's great. Ely, Kansas is a great atmosphere. They always have really good stuff because your counterweight is right near there. There's a couple other spots that are also near there too. So that's awesome, and I love that. Like all the time, like, these little places are sprouting up. I went to Hop Culture for the first time a couple weeks ago. Me and my wife went there, and they had a barbecue food truck, and those are the kind of things we like to do. We'll come here and when you guys have a food truck, and you know we'll grab something to eat, and we'll sit out there and just enjoy a cold beer. Like Tox was one of our favorites for that because my daughter goes to cheer practice. We'd have like kind of a date night. We'd drop her off at the gym right down the road from Tox, go grab sandwiches, and then go sit and have a couple beers at Tox while we wait for her to do her
Yeah, we had
practice.
that when the roller rink was open. We got all
Yes.
just dropped our kids
Yeah.
out, you know.
I can't believe they closed that. It's so sad. My kids liked it there. I wouldn't do it anymore because I'd probably break my arm or something. But it's good. So anyway, this is Outer Light, and this is in Groton. I lived here 30 years. I don't even know the name of the road out here.
Oh, Bridge Street.
On Bridge Street in Groton. It's down right next to the old roller rink, so if you're local, that's where it's at. If not, go to their website, go to their Facebook page, go to Instagram, check them out, come here, try this. Definitely try nuclear subduction, and definitely get brunches are fun. If you're a sour guy, this was the bomb. Awesome stuff. So, Tom, thanks for having me here. I thank you so much for having me come in and let me do my show here. I hope that somebody is watching or listening, if not right now, then in the next few days when I post it up to all my different platforms, that they have not been here and they come here because they heard us talking about this. And you know, if I can bring like 3 customers to you new guys, that'd be great. So that's why I do this. I want to get you guys out there. It's the local, you know, craft beer culture here in Southeast Connecticut. And I'm hoping to branch out more, but really my focus is my local people.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys came on. I'm glad that you guys are doing well, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right, so hey, thanks for listening to Just a Guy with a Beard. This has been episode number 6. Tune in next week. I will announce my guests as soon as I book them for next Monday night. Until then, everyone be safe, social distance, wear your mask, and don't beer shame. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe.
Cheers.